Well, I've been looking forward to having you for quite some time, mate. So it's great to finally get you on this.
Yeah, likewise. Excited. Thanks so much.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I like to start on time, and you guys are used to it. So I'll go through a bit of an intro, and then hand over to you. Do your thing, and then hopefully we have some time for people to, if people have some Q&A and things like that. So sounds good.
Sure thing.
Awesome, mate. So thanks so much. So let me have a look. I have some notes actually about which I have lost. It's classic in it. So I'm pretty sure I had some notes a minute ago, which I have lost, which is great. Well, I'm not too sure. I have to figure something out. So
Star.
yeah, time. So if I remember well, it goes like this. So welcome everyone. Welcome to the Deal Finder Corner. So this is your weekly property talk show brought to you by Property Filter and hosted by myself, Guillaume Black, your favorite Frenchman, CEO and co-founder at Property Filter. And as you know, it's the UK's highest rated platform to find deals. And we're on a mission to empower our property investors to find another 1,000 deals this year, thanks to the Property Filter blueprint. And the purpose really with this Deal Finder Corner is to give you more and the best of the available resources by inviting expert guests who will share with you the latest and most current strategies and tactics and secrets about what actually works right now in terms of finding and making deals and the reality of systemizing and running a high-performance business in property. So it really is my pleasure to introduce you my very good and dear friend Shane Traynor on today's Deal Finder Corner. So Shane's an award-winning networker, entrepreneur, #1 best-selling author, and public speaker. He runs several businesses, including co-owning the award-winning Co-Arch Architect practice, which is based in Birmingham and dedicated to helping property developers and professionals increase profits without compromising space and design. They do an amazing work, and he's really passionate about meeting with people, and he's made a name for himself for being really known for attending 157 networking events in a single year. And through this experience, he discovered, his deep passion for helping others, referring people to one another. And really, our networking worked for him and with this law of reciprocity, and how he's been able to unlock an endless amount of opportunities and see this work for other people, all based on connection. So I'm really, really looking forward to hear more about your talk, mate, today. And so what you can expect from today's episode. So Shane's going to talk about the power of reciprocity, how you can create win-win connections and open doors effortlessly, or you can shift your mindset around networking and why most people network wrong or get networking wrong, and approach it with a very different way where you can go into it with confidence and authenticity. And then we'll be we'll be talking about how you can turn conversations into opportunities. And Shane has got lots of little tactics and strategies to make meaningful conversation connections that lead into real business and personal growth. And hopefully this will trigger you to have a few questions, and we'll have some time to pick my dear friend's brain. So thanks so much for joining us today. So very much looking forward to hearing about your talk. So please give Shane a massive Property Filter virtual welcome. Welcome, my friend. Over to you.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Yeah, so thank you, everyone. So my name is Shane Traynor, and I'm going to be talking to you today about the art of making great connections. So yeah, lots about networking. So I always find it a bit weird when I've done these where people have come to a networking event to get talked about networking, but I definitely feel after doing it so much and doing that many events in 1 year, there's definitely an art form to it. And the more you do networking, the better you get, the more you'll get out of networking, the more opportunities you'll create, endless opportunities, which is what I've done over the past couple of years. So yeah, as Guillaume said, I'm the co-owner and director of Co-Arch Architects, and I also run my own networking event for property developers as well, and that's based in Birmingham. So who actually thinks that networking doesn't work? I actually can't see that many show of hands, but I always ask this at the start of my talk, and no one's ever brave enough to put their hand up. I did do this talk at a college once, and I had about 4 students put their hand up and didn't think it would work. So I'm here to say, like, it definitely does work, and these are all the things that I got out of networking in just 1 year of really pushing networking as hard as I could. And in 2022, I set the goal to do 100 events in a year just to experiment and see, well, what can I get out of it? What can come from networking, and can I grow the business by just going to loads of networking events? And these are all the stuff that happened. So how does networking really work? Well, it's super simple. So I love a diagram. So you're there, you go to a networking event, you attend, and let's go clockwise. You connect with someone, you exchange details, and you arrange a one-to-one, and then a business transaction happens after that meeting because you can do immediate business straight away. Or it goes the other way, where you connect with someone, arrange one-to-one, and they say, I know someone who could work well with you, and you say the same thing, and then you get introduced to another person, and then you do business with them. And that is pretty much simply how networking can work and how you can get business from networking. These are all the things you can get from networking, and that I've managed to get. So build communities, like Guillaume as himself, he's built the property filter community. You do networking events as well. We did the inception of networking events, I call, which is the property host summit as well, which is amazing that we do once a year. Accountability groups, lots of fulfillment. I've made friends for life, lots of business transactions. Too much opportunity where I've had to learn how to say no a lot more, which I really struggle with. Joint ventures and fun perks. Now, going on to one of the fun perks, because I feel like sometimes to have a fulfilling life, it's not just about business. So I'm going to share a quick story with you. I went to go to a construction firm to check out their quality because they wanted to work with us architecturally and past business. And I was having a conversation with the director of the company. And I don't know how it got onto the conversation, but it turns out he's a pilot and he flies small planes. And as a joke, I said to him, "Can you fly me down to the Isle of Wight to pick up my girlfriend and like fly me back?" And he was like, let me think about it. Yeah, go on then. So we split the fuel costs, and I met him at the an airport in Burton, and he flew me down and he let me fly the plane, and so after doing that, actually, I can assure you that flying a plane I found pretty boring. You just sit in there and you have to like hold it together for like a long time. So I just let him carry on and enjoy the view. But yeah, lots of fun perks from just network. So going on to like tips, misconceptions, and just general thoughts of what I think and how you can be a better networker, if you like. So just a show of hands, or maybe in the chat box, and Guillaume can read some of these. Like who hates going to networking events solo, even though you know you sort of have to find the deals, get out your comfort zone. Like Guillaume, if you want to read a few to me, if anyone does put any in there. I know, like I now like going to all those networking events. I still get anxiety sometimes, and I just have to like throw myself in. And you do have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, especially if you're an introverted personality type, or if anyone's done the wealth dynamics, you more of like a steel, and you just hate talking to people, but you know it's part and parcel of going out and getting deals and meeting with investors, etc. So it can be daunting for sure, but the way I get around that is when I go to a networking event and I'm on my own, I'll look for someone. If I mean, if I don't know anybody at all, I'll look for someone that's also a solo networker, and then say like, "Are you here on your own?" Yep, me too. You've got some synergy straight away, and then you can like start your conversation from there. A big one. So when I'm normally doing these talks, I'll get people up to reenact a bit of like a sort of semicircle, if you like. So if I'm standing here and then there's another person here and another sort of person here, what I would do, there's I would see that there's a bit of a gap, sort of more so like from a psychology point of view. There's a gap to jump in there and introduce yourself. And again, you just got to be comfortable with getting uncomfortable. And it's more likely that subconsciously, as I said, from a psychology point of view, that group is welcoming and they're not closed off. They're not having a private conversation. And the way I would approach that is, if you're feeling brave enough, is just go, hi, sorry guys, do you mind if I jump in? I'm Shane. What's your name? Obviously, shake everyone's hand. Like, please carry on your conversation. I'm just here to network and meet new people. And I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, probably actually 10 out of 10 times, the person to your left or to your right will turn to you and start having a conversation with you. It happens every time. And also on the flip side as well, guys. So if you're chatting with if you're in a group of 3 to 4 and you can see someone hovering to your side, invite them into the conversation and bring them into speed, because I imagine you know how uncomfortable that might be, and they're on their own. So bring them into the conversation, bring them up to speed, and that's how you can get to be that more likable like character. Awful questions. So these are questions that really do my head in at networking events, and I'm sure you are do. We're very British. Obviously, Guillaume's French. So, like, does he have the same questions? I don't know. I'll have to ask him shortly. But like, are you busy? We're all busy. If we weren't busy, what are we doing with our lives? So we're all busy. Stop asking that question. What do you do? Although that is obviously a very important question, because you want to find out what they do, like to see if you can help them and they can help you. There is a better way of asking that question. And the worst one is the most British thing on this planet is asking about the weather. Look, why? Why are we doing this? Can we break this tradition of asking about the weather, please? So don't ask about the weather. Boring. Now the better questions is, so number one, so tell me, Guillaume, what got you into what you do today? I want to know the story. Everyone's got a story. Find out the story about that person. It gives more context, puts more meat on the bone about that person and that human being you're talking to. Like if you're working with investors, like you or like you're looking for JV partners or land agents to build proper, and I mean proper, meaningful connections and relationships. You want to get more meat on the bone of like, well, what's going on? What's this person like? What makes them tick? What makes them get up in the morning? So that leads on to like question two, which is better than what do you do? So asking them like, who's the perfect person you would want to meet at this networking event that could help or make a positive impact on your business? And they will say, well, actually, so if someone asked me that, I'd be like, well, actually, that's such a good question. So I own an architect practice and we're looking to work with more developers, investors across England. Particularly at the moment, we're looking to work with, we're doing quite a lot of children's care homes and commercial conversions. So anyone that wants to work with us in that sense, like please introduce us. And it's a better question, and therefore when you ask better questions, you get better answers, or should get better answers. And then the third one as well is what is one thing you enjoy outside of business and work? Because I find if I want to get to know people on a level and just look at it going past business, again, putting more meat on the bone of that person as an individual. And I remember I spoke at a PPN once, and I think it was like event 95 or something, and I was just a bit sick and tired of asking and the same old questions. So I just asked this person outright. I was like, "What's your favorite ice cream flavor?" And then she was like, bit like, what do you mean? I was like, well, let's get off the subject of property for a moment. Like, let's talk about ice cream for a minute. And it was mint choc chip. I remember that quite clearly. And mine's bubblegum, so she called me a child because mine's a bubblegum flavor. So anyway, there was ended up being about 6 of us talking about ice cream, which just made it a bit more different. And then, but next time we saw each other the next month, that we was all sort of, we'd made friends over that silly conversation initially. So asking better questions is important. And what's the worst that can happen at a networking event if you're scared to do networking? You get told to piss off. Well, I'm going to say it's not going to happen, because everyone at that event is there to network. That's what these events are created for, remember. And so if someone does say this or tells you to go away, not politely, then I don't want to be their friend, and I don't really want to work with them anyway. There's plenty more people that are a lot nicer and welcoming. So yeah, what's the worst that can happen? Probably nothing. Um, expecting an immediate return is a key one. So I've met and come across a lot of business development managers from like law firms, uh, accountancy practices, even land and new homes, and they're always there. And it's like, what's in it for me? I'm not going to go to this network event. It's rubbish. I'll get nothing out of it. And I think it's just the wrong outlook of the time invested. You've got to look at it from a long-term point of view. It's like, let's go back to dating someone. You wouldn't expect to get into bed with them on date one. It can happen, but let's not expect it to happen, right, guys? So let's, yeah, think it's definitely a long-term game is networking. You want to build that relationship, build that rapport, find out what they do, find out how you can help them, and in turn how they will help you. And I would look at it as a minimum 6 months, 9 months, even a year. Like some of the people that I've met on day one, I haven't done business with them until a year later, or even like a year and a half later. So it's definitely a long-term view. And I think networking's a skill for life as well. And especially if you're in property, it's such a people game. You got to, you'll be in property. If you are in property for the rest of your life, or business, then networking should just be a part and parcel, whether you do it once a month or once a week. So I bet I can guess everybody's favorite word in this chat, in this meeting. Can everyone guess? See if everyone get. I'm going to look at the chat now. Deal's a good one. Let's get some interaction. We've got a yes. Investors. We've got a yes. I mean, there's good words, but no, it's all wrong. Financial freedom, that's 2 words. Ah, Mark. Mark smashed it. So Mark got it correct. It's his name. So everyone's favorite word is their name. And Darren, you got it correct as well. I mean, yeah, okay, investors might be your favorite word, but yeah, your name is your favorite word. And the reason it is your favorite word is because what happened? What do you do when someone calls your name? You turn to it, right? Like your senses picks it up, so even subconsciously. Sometimes when you hear something and it's not your name, but it sounds like your name, you still turn to it. So that must mean your name is very important to you, especially when people get it incorrect. I'm sure, Guillaume, you've had your name. I get called Sean all the time. Does my head in. Like, how can you get Sean and Shane mixed up? Anyway, but I digress. So yeah, what's that? Gwillem. Willem, all sorts. So yeah, if you can remember someone's name, that is so important, and again, it will help build rapport a lot quicker. So, and the best way to remember someone's name, I know Bill Clinton used to write down people's names on cards, but I think technology's moved past that now. So the way I remember someone's name, I seem to be quite good at it. But if you're not good at it, then a little tip is, if when you're talking to someone, when you find out their name, keep using their name in their sentence. So yeah, so tell me what you do for business, Shane, and how you got to this point, Shane, or like, what do you think of this networking event, Shane? And keep repeating it, and that should hopefully cement their name in your brain. And that is one way to keep remembering it as well. And then get it, like, when you get their contact details, just keep repeating it in your head. This is more of, again, like a sort of like psychology one. So if you are at a networking event, I'd say suggest staying away like from the exit. And what I mean by that is, so normally where the exits and entrances are, that's where the check-in desk is to go to get your badges. And I think that's where some of the worst conversations can happen, or they're not as good conversations. And the reason I say that is because when people are checking in, they're getting their bearings, they're wondering where to go, where am I sitting, where's the bar, and they're not thinking about networking in that moment, even if you don't know it. So the best thing to do is go to the bar, go to the coffee tables, go to scout the room out first. And once you've got that, I always find the best place to go is probably like the bar or the coffee or the breakfast station, whatever type of event you're at, and get your drink. And then once you're in, you've got your drink in your hand, you're in networking mode, and then you're ready to go. So I'll say, like, try not to have the conversations of speaking with new people by the entrance/exit. And then if you're someone who you go into an event and you don't feel like you've got anything to offer. I used to feel like this for sure, like before I got into the property space, and all I'd read is a few property books. Didn't, live with my mum in her flat, and I didn't feel like I had anything to offer. But it was actually far from the truth. Like I may have had a potential. Well, my nan used to invest in property without calling herself an investor, and actually she turns out, well, I wish she was an investor. She's got dementia now. However, I know she's got some flips and had some capital, so I could have gone to her for some money. And so I had my nan as a potential investor. I had plenty of time on my hands because working in the school as an IT technician, so I had all the time before and after work and during my lunch hours. And then I've got two ears and one mouth for a reason. So I want to listen a lot. I want to learn, and I've got lots of energy. So I had all this to offer. And then in turn, when I put that out into the universe, I then met a developer that took me under his wing, and he mentored me everything he knew about development. So I've never paid for mentorship. I was actually getting paid to be mentored. I kind of flicked the switch, if you like, and found a bit of a life hack. So that's what I had to offer. Like, I didn't have money, but I had time. I potentially had a connection. You guys might have connections, and I had energy, willingness to learn, and two ears to listen. And I think it's so important is to be authentic. Like, I can smell bullshit a mile away. And like I get it when you're starting out and you're fresh. But I don't think there's any reason to lie. Like, I sort of see it when people like have they're working their 9 to 5 job and they've got no cash, so they want to get into property, and they start with, let's say, I'm going to pick on the rent to rent model when they want to get into rent to rent because or deal sourcing, and they go, yeah, I've got this deal, I've got this investor, and I got this. And I get, there is a bit of fake it till you make it to a degree, but I think if you're lying, you're not only lying to the people you're trying to build a relationship with, you're lying to yourself as well. So at the very beginning, I was super truthful and upfront to the developer. I said, look, I've read these books, I know how to appraise deals because I've watched these videos. This is who I know, this is who I don't know, this is the reason I want to get into what I'm doing. And he took me on because I was genuine and authentic. So yeah, like, I just think like it is your best perfume, guys, and yeah, wear it with pride if you're new to the game. And always be networking as well. So there's been two scenarios where I just maybe it's because maybe I'm a bit nosy, or I just like to tune into people's conversations sometimes. But like I do the odd DJing on Friday and Saturday evenings, and I was at this bar, and this gentleman came in with his wife and their two friends, and I was playing some classic ABBA disco music, and they really liked it. They were dancing, and he came over, just got chatting, and we got into the conversation of, like, he was like, is this your full-time job? I was like, no, like architect practice. Like, oh, that's cool. Like, I'm a QS but by trade. And I was like, okay, brilliant. Like, maybe we've got some synergy. Let's connect on LinkedIn. So I did, connected with him, and then like I didn't hear of him then for a while. And then 3 months later, he came back in and he's like, hi, do you remember me? And I was like, how you doing, Peter? Because remember when I was talking to him the first time round, I kept using his name to reinforce me remember his name. And I hadn't seen him on LinkedIn since we connected. And he was like, I can see you're really active on LinkedIn and what you do with the business. And yeah, I like your work, etc. He was like, I've got a family friend that's looking for an architect. They had planning refused in the 80s for a single dwelling. Would you be able to help? I was like, yes, absolutely. So there's a current potential project that we're looking at the moment. And then the second one happened to be some QSs again, but I was sitting on the train, and there was two people behind me, and one of the guys behind me, I could hear him talking to his friend about him and his wife looking to do a loft conversion, and I just couldn't help myself. I just turned around and went, really sorry to interrupt, guys. I've got to get off the train shortly, but I couldn't help but overhear you're looking to do a potential loft conversion. He was like, yeah, that's right. I was like, yeah, I'm a co-director of an architect practice. Maybe we're able to help. Like, tell me what you guys do. You sound like you're in the business. And they were like, yeah, we're quantity surveyors. We work in the city. It's like, oh, like, give me your business card. Maybe we can do some work together. And then again, there's another project we're looking at the moment of a loft conversion. But it's just like, always be networking. And if, don't be afraid if you like hear on someone are talking about something where you can potentially help them, or if you ever hear someone chatting to someone else about property, don't be afraid to just dip in. And then if they tell you to go away there, and then obviously you're not at networking events, so it's kind of like fair enough, it's a private conversation. But yeah, sort of next level being a bit ballsy. But yeah, always be networking is a bit of a rule. And maximizing your reach as well. So as I said, everyone's got a story to tell. Do things like what I'm doing now if you can. Like I host three networking events, and I do like talks like this. This is the best way to network because I'm telling everyone and sharing what I do and what my business is to everyone at once rather than people individually. So I definitely say if you get the opportunity to speak at a networking event, even if it's just on a single deal that you've done and what the challenges were at a small networking event, because within that presentation, you can then put what you're looking for, whether it is investment or another opportunity, and just a brief explanation about who you are. So I challenge everyone in this call is to go and speak to a networking event host and get yourself on, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes. And a massive one. Yes, of course I'm nosy, Gim. Just seeing your message. Yeah. So the law of reciprocity, absolute game changer. This one, and I discovered this about a third way into doing all those networking events the other year, and it was basically the law of reciprocity. Firstly, I challenge you to say reciprocity quickly because that's hard enough, and the law of reciprocity itself is it's giving something without wanting anything in return. And I realized very quickly that if I was just to focus on helping others to get what they want, whether that was a bit of my time, some knowledge, some advice, if someone bought like a project to me and they was like, look, I just need your eye on this like piece of land, like roughly what can we fit on there? All right, let's have a quick look and let's spend like 20 minutes on it, and then it just found like it just like came back round in some way, shape, or form. And it might not come off that person directly, but it's just you create more opportunities when you use the power of law of reciprocity. And for anyone that knows Dan Hill, property entrepreneur, he's wrote a book called Karma Credits, which again emphasizes the point of the law of reciprocity. And like game changer, Dan Hill, Gim, I'm sure you know about it. Yeah, like just think when you go to a networking event, think, how can I add value to this room? How can I help people within this room? Like just be a bit more selfless. Obviously, we do need business. We need to help ourselves as well, but just think a little bit outside the box of how you can help individuals in this room and start asking these questions, because I guarantee you people will help you get what you want then. And then obviously the follow up is absolutely key for meeting these individuals at events or out and about, and have a good CRM system. So we use Asana in the practice, and we have I have like a list of like contacts, and then they're from service providers to like our clients and potential future clients, or even people that I've just sort of met really that are looking for deals. And I'll say, well, I'll keep my ears and eyes to the ground. So have some kind of place where you follow, you make sure you follow these up. And I sort of put people into categories, not in a sort of in a nasty way, but in a way whereby I can categorize them in my head when I speak to people. So category A, for instance, so I meet someone at a networking event and they're like, I need an architect, I'm looking for them now. Great, I can do business with them right away, pretty much that week if they're looking to appoint someone or they've got a project imminently waiting. So that is category A. Category B is the same scenario, but maybe they're looking to work with an architect maybe in the 6 months to potentially a year, or they're just starting out and they need to get their power team in place. Or category B can also be potentially, in my scenario, it can be a law firm that has access to a black book of developer contacts and vice versa. I've got a black book of developer contacts for them, and that can be category B. So you're not doing business directly with them, but you're doing business with their contacts and vice versa. And then category C is a little bit more tricky to establish, but not to be dismissed. So I'm going to pick on like, let's say, an insurance brokers for this one. So apologies if anyone's an insurance broker here, but like going to the Chamber of Commerce events last year, I'd come across like an insurance broker that would only insure fleets of like HGV delivery trucks. So probably wouldn't be able to do business with them, to be honest. However, if they want to have a chat with me, I do need to make sure that I'm limiting and protecting my time. Like we all should be protecting our time, right? Not only for our personal peace, but for the growth of our businesses, right? So I'd have that time and just assess it, whether it's a quick phone call or like a 15-minute Zoom call, depending on what it is. And then what did happen, the broker that I spoke to didn't hear from him for 6 months, but because we got on and we just had a chat about just general stuff and what he did and what I did. 6 months later, he was like, Shane, my next door neighbor needs an extension. I know, we had a good chat a few months ago. I know you're in an architect business. Here's this contact. So again, you just never know who knows who or where that goes. So trickier to establish, but not to be dismissed. And then just going on to like how it has actually benefited like Coart really. So just from networking, it's all of our pretty much all of our leads. We worked it out. It was roughly about 87% of our business came from networking events, and then from like the referrals of the people that we did jobs for, and just this continuous snowball. Then so much so that we've gone from a team of 3 to 11 in a year, which is crazy. I've never had to deal with that situation before, but we continue to grow. So we've worked on business changing projects, and what I mean by that is we've gone from just only working on extension, probably one-off house, to like apartment schemes now. In fact, that's wrong now because it says 8. I need to update that to 11. And then the property developers show as well. We exhibited there. We did that for free because that was an exchange. So I looked at a few things for Scott, and he was like, well, in fact, the value you've created for me there, I'll give you the same value at the property developers show. And then other sponsorships we've done through just helping people out. And the same with the developers network. By having a networking event, it's created opportunities, investments, deals, joint ventures. In fact, I met my business partner now. He was the sponsor of the networking event that I set up, and that's how I met him. Being given certain tools, so like Searchland, we use to find like more so to find out like BNG and all these like credits, etc. We get that tool in exchange for sponsorship, etc. And we've built a trusted community with 498 people in there now. And then off the back of that, these are the 2 other events that I've created, just very informal and just a bit more relaxed. And then this was more so like a new one that I created last year, and this one was more so like, how do you get out the comfort zone of a networking event without being too formal, or like how do you break the ice? So I decided to create networking events in gaming venues around the city. So like the F1 arcade, virtual reality, and I found that people clicked a lot quicker because they were competing whilst like trying to network as well. So that was fun. And just a quick tool, if anyone didn't know about it, LinkedIn. If you go to the search bar and click on the little QR code, if you don't have business cards or you don't want to use business cards, use this as a little virtual business card. And what I would suggest with this as well is just make sure you have a good profile as well, and it is up to date. It's not just a blank, silhouette profile photo. I'm pretty sure that's quite important. And finally, I just want to leave you with this quote. True networking isn't just about climbing ladders. It's about building bridges for others to cross, which I truly believe will help amplify your connections, your business, and just whatever you're trying to do or who you're trying to connect with in life. And that's it. That's me done. Any questions?
Thank you, mate. Really appreciate it. Yeah, do connect with Shane, that's all the That's the point of all of this, isn't it?
Hmm.
Thanks a lot for that. Do you find on all the networking you've done, like there were some like awkward moments or awkward little stories or anecdotes you've had, or you put yourself in awkward situation and you didn't die, like what some funny anecdotes?
There's been a few scenarios whereby there's speaking to some individuals, and it's probably just their personality type. Like it's like trying to draw blood from a stone, and like I'm really trying. See one gentleman laughing there. So yeah, it's really difficult to, I'm trying my best to like get stuff out of them. It was difficult to even get their name, and it might be a little bit awkward. And I tell you one, it is like I think being truthful as well about, if you want to leave a conversation, there's certain ways to do it because sometimes obviously we get stuck in conversations whereby we're kind of done with the conversation now. So the way I would do it is to say like, don't say you're going to the toilet if you're not going to the toilet, because sometimes you'll get spotted and you're not actually going to the toilet. Or if you're going to the bar, you actually generally go into the bar. Just say like, look, I'm gonna go around and meet some more people. Like, it was really good to chat to you. Can I have your contact details before we go and we'll connect? And that's a genuine and nice way just to get out of a conversation and then move on, because it is like you do want to get around as many people as possible sometimes as well. Um,
Yeah, I find sometimes like people want my number, and I'm really bad at it because I don't pick up the phone to anyone calling. So I only pick up to my mom, right? So so if you try to call me, so people ask my number, I say, look, it's pointless, right? I'm just not using it. And so it's always a bit awkward. People feel like, oh, I don't want to give my number or something. So I tend to go on the LinkedIn and stuff like that. But this gonna be the most awkward stuff for me. I don't know if you come across this, or people
yeah,
need a
do you mean?
specific way, they want to push on
Mm.
you a specific way of contacting you or something.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I solved that. I've got two numbers. I've
Use a
got a
bad phone.
personal number, and then I've got a business number. And I've actually last year I left all the property WhatsApp groups in my personal number and put that in my
Yeah.
business number. Only because I found like my business life was stretching over too much into my personal life. And I work with a mindset coach every month. And one of the big things for me last year was because I network like so much, it just got like too mentally draining. And you've got to protect your peace to be at your best self. Like I can't be turning up at a networking event and just being like really miserable, to the point where I have to act to be like happy and pleasant. Like there was a few scenarios where I felt like I would just had to just put a bit of an acting face on. I'd still be like, my kind wanting to help people self, but I just weren't feeling being there, and I just wanted to leave. So I think protecting your peace is important if you're going to do lots of networking events. Um,
And you make a good point of it's very easy to get bogged down with some conversations you finished, but you struggle to leave it. So,
mm,
you said at the start, when you are when you don't know no one, and you tend to go and find the other solo networker, and then I see like some people who are new to networking, they then take comfort. So that other person will take comfort in you, and then
mm.
will want to stay with you, or type thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So how
Yeah.
do you deal with those funny, how can you help people deal with these interactions, or like don't be that guy type thing, and come to networking with a bit of a purpose.
Yes. Yeah. I totally agree. I think the more plan of action, the more of a plan of action you have on a networking event, the better outcome, right? So I would say is if you're looking to meet a certain someone or gain a certain thing, is just like tell people, like once you've found out what they want, and hopefully they should reciprocate that by going, oh, like what is it you're looking for at this networking event? And you'll find that some people don't sometimes. So if they don't, then don't feel afraid obviously to say, well, actually, that's brilliant, or no, I know what you're looking for now, here's what I'm looking for. And
Mhm.
you can, yeah, I think to have a plan of what you're looking to get out of that networking event, and not all the time you'll come away successful of finding something, but if you go back the next time you might do, but what you might get out the first time. So for instance, I've come across people before where I've met them pretty much every month at an event and didn't think they anything of it of a QS for instance that I know. What's it with these QSs that keep popping up in my life? Another QS guy, and I was looking for investment last year for a flip project, and it turns out this guy that I'd been networking with for a while, I've never asked for money, but when I did, in my group, he private messaged me, and he was the last person I would have thought that would have had the full investment for this property. So yeah, it's you just never know. So have that have a goal of what you're trying to get out of networking really is important.
And you know, on your diagram at the start, if you go anti-clockwise on, do you
Hmm.
have a way of asking people?
I should go back.
Do you have a way of asking people? It's like who in the network is looking for the stuff you got? Is it, or do you ask this question, or do you position or sit? Because this is really where the power is. Because
Mm,
people tend to think, oh, what's the point going to this networking event? There's only 40 people, and I only have time
mm,
to speak to 10. But
mm.
really, it's how do you unlock the network of 1,000 times 40? So how do you go anti-clockwise on this, and what question do you ask that person on the left to introduce you to someone?
So this person, yeah. So if I have a one-to-one with this person on the left, when you tend to have one-to-ones, right, you have more time to speak to them. So it could be 30 minutes. Sometimes if you have coffees, it could be an hour. And then you can really hone down on what you're looking for and the types of people and like be ultra specific as well. And then I guess you say like emphasize the fact like, look, if you can help me find this person, it's going to dramatically change what I'm doing. Like I really would love to be connected with these people, and then also be genuine about how you're looking to help that person you're chatting to as well, and like write it down. So the best networkers I've come across that are similar to what I do, like when I said I want to meet so and so, I can see their mind boggling already, going, right, I know. Oh yes, I'll write that. I know who to introduce you to. I know so and so. Oh, have you met so and so? No, okay, I'll introduce them, and they'll be writing a list in front of me or emailing themselves, and then within like 2 days, 48 hours, they've introduced me to these people already. So if you actually know people that you can introduce to these contacts, then why not do it? Obviously, if they're the type of person that you don't just want to do a cold intro first, like check with them to say I met this guy for a coffee, guy or gal for a coffee. They need to meet this person. Obviously, I know you do this. Is it okay if I introduce you? And I've, to be honest, I've been told off once before because I introduced two people without telling the other person. She messaged me, go next time, ask me first. I was like, okay, sorry. But yeah, so
And
maybe,
most people are happy to get introduced anyway.
yeah. I'm just got a question here. What advice would you give someone who feels they can't add much to the conversation because their level of knowledge is lower than those around them? I would guess for something like that is go back to what I said with, I guess you want to like, do you actually want to contribute to that conversation? I guess just being able to listen, but then asking questions. So if your knowledge is lower, then ask questions like, I don't know about like you guys sitting here, but like, I love it when people ask me questions because it like on like planning or architecture or networking, of course, because I'm happy to give my knowledge. So like if you don't know much, then ask the questions. Never be afraid of asking questions. It's there's a quote, I think it was Confucius or something, and it was something on the lines of those who ask questions will feel a fool for a minute, but those who don't ask questions will be a fool for life. So just remember that, like a question that might seem silly, like someone was scared of asking me that in a networking event. They asked me personally afterwards, what does GDV mean? Like gross domestic something, and I was like, oh, it's gross development value. And he's like, I was a bit afraid to put my hand up because I thought everyone in the room knew what it was. And I was like, you got to remember, guys, and especially Ivan as well, like we all didn't wake up out of bed knowing what we know today, did we? Like you didn't wake up out of bed at 2 years old, Guillaume, and go, I'm going to start Property Filter now. I know how to
No,
do deals.
I wish
Unless
I
you
did.
did. Did you? Yeah,
No.
yeah. So yeah, I would say if you feel that you can't add much to the conversation, that's absolutely fine. I've been in so many scenarios, and I will keep I'll actually make sure I'm in more of those scenarios where I don't know anything because I'm there to like learn, right? So make sure there's that saying in I don't know what book it is, like make sure you're the was it the I don't want to say dumbest, I think that's the wrong word, but not the smartest person in the room
Yeah.
because you could get to learn. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Um, so yeah, that'd be my advice for that one. And I appreciate that, Paul. Thank you for the kind words on the book. Really appreciate that.
Indeed, yeah. I'm surprised you didn't mention it in your talk or presentation. You need to put it somewhere in there. It's quite cool.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, okay. Well, if people do go to the end, I did actually write a book on But 32 at 32, it was the life lessons that I've learned and a lot of the stuff that I talk about on networking to a degree. Some bits are in that and how I've gotten from working out of school as a technician to owning half an architect practice. And I'm not an architect, shock horror. I'm not an architect. I do everything but the architecture, but we've got the team. Think of it like because people ask me all the time, well, how does that work? I'm like, well, Richard Branson, I don't think he knows how to fly a plane, but he owns Virgin Airways, isn't he? So
I
it's
don't know how to code, right, Shane? Same thing.
yeah. You don't
No, I can't code one line together. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, exactly that. So that's my situation with co-arch architects. Like I've never opened CAD to draw a line or anything. So it's yeah, I wouldn't know where to start to be honest with you. So yeah. That's
yeah,
what the book's about, all the life lessons really. And it's 99p digital if you fancy it. I
yeah.
get
No,
about
thank
20p royalties. Cheers. Get rich quick
you.
scheme.
Passive income, eh?
Exactly. Well, it technically is, yeah. I think
Yeah.
someone bought one at 3 a.m. last night, so making money whilst asleep, baby.
20p overnight. That's way to go, mate.
Life changing.
Is it? I think I saw you went quick on the slide. Did I see Emad and Hanif at some networking event a few slides ahead? Or?
Oh, yeah. Let's see if I can find them. I think that yeah.
Yeah. That's right. That's Hanif on the right. That's you, Emad.
That was
Emad.
that's at Sadji's event.
Yeah.
Repping
It's
Nobby.
like the second favorite word is your company's logo. I seen those hoodies and it came out of I responded to it. It's funny, right?
I love that. We've just
Corinne,
got another question there, is that right?
yeah. Corinne is asking, do you try to speak to every single person in the room at the event, or you're trying to collect everyone's contact details, or do you just advise to talking longer to a few people? I've seen people doing both. It's a good question.
Yeah, like I find personally for me, I prefer speaking to people longer and then because of obviously relationship building, right? Like having a
Mm.
longer term view in it. I've never I've never gone and just like powered it and get as many business cards as possible because I think at the end of the day, you're trying to make yourself memorable for the right reason. So I remember this one chap once, he just came up to me and went, got a business card. And I went, yeah, no problem, gave it, and he ran off. I didn't get his name. So he memorable for me for the wrong reasons. Like I don't know who that was, and I didn't get an email from or anything. So that's like how not to do what networking in my opinion. So I
Mm.
think just having better conversations, slightly longer, 15 minutes here or there, and then but continue to go to the same networking events. I mean, obviously you do want to go to other networking events, but going to the same ones is where relationships get built. And it is okay to go and speak to the same people. But when you get to obviously when you and I see each other game at networking events, we have a very quick catch up, don't we? Then we're speaking to new people then. So it's cool to have a quick catch up with your friends, but it's also important from a business point of view and time point of view is to continue speaking to people that you've never spoken to before. Yeah.
Awesome. And then you find, like, and then you got the opposite behavior. Or you got the flyers, the ones who go and distribute their business cards. It's the opposite, That's,
That was an experience where I went to a Chamber of Commerce event and like this business development manager guy, like I was chatting to him, and within 2 minutes, well, in fact, no, it was before I'd even like he asked my name. He was like business card in the face straight away, and it was like just a massive turn off. And I didn't like it, and I'm like, you haven't even asked what I do yet, and I didn't ask for your business card. Like, I think it's important. Like, don't hand your business card out. Personally, my personal opinion on this one, I never ever hand my business card out unless people ask for it, or unless they say, um, I'm looking for an architect for my project. I'll say, would you like my contact details? And then, oh yes, please. And then I will hand my business card out. But that's just my opinion, because I think handing a business card out without someone asking for it, I personally think is a little bit of a turn off. But that's just my opinion on that one.
yeah, I
Thanks,
tend to
Shane. Cheers for buying the book.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was on Audible. Are you reading? Is it you reading it?
I am indeed. You got to listen to my annoying Brummie accent for 2.5 hours.
Wow, amazing. I didn't realize. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't carry them anymore. Like it's
Mm.
just it's not really, yeah, the business card thing is a bit overrated, I think. I think the tip you share about LinkedIn is all you need, and then
Mm.
a lot more powerful because then people are in your world, and when you post stuff, they keep on warming up to the things you do, and LinkedIn is probably the place for it.
Yeah, definitely. And I would definitely say an appropriate question to ask when you want to do the contact details exchange is to say, what is the best way to contact you? Because like you, if you don't want to give out your phone number, that's not the best way. For me, it's email, or sometimes it's WhatsApp. It depends who I'm talking to, really. LinkedIn's good as well. So LinkedIn for me, even Instagram's a good way to contact me because I'm quite active on there.
Are you going on to any challenge, Shane? Like you try to beat your own record, or after attending 157 networking event, is it and running three of your own events? You want to go and speak at 100? I don't know what's the. Have you got
Mm.
any challenge like that? Do you
You
need
know
a
what?
challenge like that? Do you need me to challenge you?
Yeah. I was going to say, do you want to set one for me for 2026? Because we're sort of
All right, you got.
asking.
Yeah, I'm sure you
Yeah,
can, you can
I
catch
don't
up.
have one. So I was people were egging me on to do like 200 in a year, but honestly, 157. You're talking. I think I was doing like six a week sometimes.
Mm.
And a top tip though, guys, if you're ever feeling hungry and the cost of living crisis is getting to you, go networking events. Like I lived off canapes in 2023, like breakfast, lunches, dinners. It was brilliant. I mean, I gained a little bit of weight, mind, which I've lost now, but I got fed like full time, and I didn't, hardly cooked in 2023. It was brilliant.
Yeah, that's quite awesome. Tony's asking, saying, love the fact that you own your architect practice and you're not an architect. What kind of response did you initially have from architect when setting your business up? You partner with an architect, wasn't it? Oh.
Yeah, so the practice was formed in 2019, and I joined it as a business development manager, like PAYE employee in November 2022. And my now business partner said to me, if you help me grow the business in 1 year, I'll give you 50% of the company. And then literally a year to the date, I signed the shareholders agreement November 2023. And it like when I did speak to other architects at networking events, like even some of like the bigger firms in the city, they just found it really weird. And like a setup, they said like we don't have a business development person, but that's not to say it's wrong. It's just not heard of in architecture. You'll have a BD probably for an accountant or a law firm.
That's very interesting. Shane, do you want to scroll back to the page about, where you've got the learning, the time? Because if you think, like you're not like people think they have nothing to offer, but as you say, you got a lot of energy,
Mm,
connections, time, willing to learn and listening, and then
mm,
just out of being a great connector, you help grow this business massively to a point where it's fair for you to have a half of it. So
mm.
it's
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Mm.
maybe
Yeah.
commenting back on the question Ivan had earlier, where and to everyone who thinks, well, I've got nothing to offer, and as you said, you before that you got free mentoring from a pretty experienced developer, a good friend of mine as well,
Mhm.
uh, on the back of just applying those principles. So being
Mm.
paid to be mentored, what's not great about it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. It's just like thinking outside the box. And I had us, I guess on top of that, the time was, I guess, also known as sweat equity. And I put a lot of sweat equity into
Mhm.
gain half of that business.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I'll definitely say, so just going on to Hard Heaps comment, the best food I find is at either awards ceremonies, like the three-course dinners.
Mhm.
You pick up the ones where they do Indian food. I love Indian food. Or like if you go to a Chamber of Commerce, do lots of events for a year's membership. I think it was like 800 quid plus VAT, and you got access to 200 events, and you go down different venues around like Birmingham, West Midlands, and yeah, the food was like top notch. Ah, Ming, yes. Ming do good sandwiches and wedges. Yeah, highly recommend that event. That's good food, to be fair.
Yeah, Ming is good. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's good. It's a really good Birmingham independent event.
Mm,
Tony's asking a question. Um, Having genuine interest in what others do, get them talking about themselves, their business, their
mm,
family. There's a lot of principles if you like a bit of a good read, and you probably know about the book already. It's How to Win Friends and
mm,
Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I think there's a
mm,
whole chapter on remembering people's names. There's a whole chapter on asking open-ended questions to get them to speak. And you can
mm,
end up sitting there having people talk talk to themselves and telling you that they've had the best. You how great of a conversionist you are
mm.
by the end of it. So it's a really good read if you've not read it already.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Just being a good listener can already elevate, you know, where you already are. Asking open-ended questions and listening. It's really simple. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Shane. Do you have any sort of closing sentiment for us today? Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you so much. Always been networking. Top tip.
Always been networking. That's a good one. Well, thanks a lot. So, what are the? Can you tell us about your? I didn't know you had three. I knew you had the developers network. I knew you had the one in the games place. What's the third one?
So yeah, Harry's Club is a free event. It's for investors and professionals, so it's not specifically for property as a topic, but there's lots of property people that go there, and it's in Solihull. It's free to attend once a quarter. Don't have a date yet. You get fed there as well for free, and you get a free drink on arrival. So yeah, just connect with me on LinkedIn or
Yeah,
WhatsApp
yeah,
or whatever what was on the QR codes, LinkedIn, Instagram. And when I release the next event, then it will be plastered over social media, and you're welcome to attend. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. There's only one. There's only one curly ginger chain trainer anyway, so you can't miss it. Thanks a
Yeah,
lot, mate. Really, really appreciate you coming and share these things. So, thank you everyone for joining us on today's Deal
pleasure.
Final Corner. I hope you had a good time like I did. I look forward to seeing you next week. In the meantime, log on to your Props Filter account. Check out the blueprint. Have an endless supply of deals. Join the top 1% and become a high achiever deal finder. I hope you enjoyed today's Deal Final Corner like I did, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Thanks so much. Thank you,
See you
Shane.
later.
Appreciate it, mate. Really, really, thanks for the time. Yeah, appreciate it.
Cheers, team.
See you. Bye bye.